Welcome to I've Always Wanted to Watch That, a spin-off podcast from the Average Joe's Movie Clubcast. I'm Justin. In this podcast, I get the pleasure of talking to a fellow cinephile that I met in a very unexpected place as we get into 1991's Delicatessen. It's a French dark comedy. I'm joined by Chad Hayes. How you doing?
Hey, bonsoir.
All right, so we're both involved in scouting. We were both Eagle Scouts, and we were on a camp out, and we just started talking Kurosawa all of a sudden. I mean, you don't always just stumble into somebody that's familiar with all these international film references. So, Chad, tell me about yourself.
I'm definitely a cinephile. I've watched a fair amount of movies. I've watched several movies many times. So we're both fans of the Criterion Collection. He showed me his tattoo. It's of the Koyaanisqatsi. Opening scene to Koyaanisqatsi, 1983, Godfrey Reggio. I've probably seen it 50, 70, 80 times. I don't know.
Yeah.
That movie really impacted me. I've just always been interested in films.
Cool. Well, we'll definitely dig into some of your tastes here in the movie Blitz. Okay, so... Oh, and we're getting into Delicatessen because, instantly I was like, hey, we should do a podcast. And you had mentioned this one, and this has just been on my watch list forever just because something about the pig on the cover was just like, you check that out. And, you had mentioned it was directed by the same guy as Amelie. So,
Jean-Pierre Jeunet and Marc Caro. I have an interesting story about how I came to hear about the film, and it might possibly be the first really weird movie I ever saw.
Okay.
I had when about 96, I guess. I had a girlfriend at the time whose grandfather tragically passed away, and we were at the funeral, and one of her cousins was like, "Hey, you guys got to check out this French director, Jean-Pierre Jeunet. City of Lost Children had just come out in 96, and Delicatessen." And I think the next day, or at least the next week, I went and found them. And I saw Delicatessen first, I remember that, and was just in love with the weird French cinema. Very dark, comedic movie. And there's some of my favorite films still.
All right, let's get into the stream of questions. All right, so number one, what are your 3 desert island movies?
THX 1138.
Okay.
George Lucas's,
student film, right?
Well, he remade his student film. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He made the student film that was short, 20, 30-minute film. I've seen it a few times. And then I think Coppola gave him a huge chunk of money through Zoetrope Studios to make the one that we have today. Well, I know that it was remastered and George Lucafied at some point.
I haven't seen that version. I've heard there's like a lot of inserted bad guys or something. I don't even know.
He just kind of fleshes out a lot of the scenes, and there's some CGI robots moving around in the foreground of some scenes. I don't think he alters the flow of the movie at all, but it is definitely a different vibe. Okay. I've seen the remastered one recently.
Okay.
So THX 1138 is one of the greatest sci-fi movies ever. It's Plato's The Allegory of the Cave set in a dystopic future.
By that?
I used to say Fight Club was the best movie, my favorite movie of all time. I didn't see that in the theater. I saw it later, but it absolutely changed my life. Literally within 6 months of seeing that movie, I was living in a dilapidated old 100-year-old warehouse. There was an artist community commune thing, and no heat, and some anarchist militancy involved. So it really steered my life in a different direction, I think.
Is that what a man looks like?
Yeah, I've sort of outgrown that, but it grows with you. Maybe I need to watch it again.
It's the satire. Yeah. It's very set in the 90s there, but it's still fun to bite into.
So we'll go with Fight Club, And I got to throw some Werner Herzog in there. It's hard to pick just one, really. I don't know. A Weary Wrath of God, I guess. The first big one. That's some of the Klaus Kinski, like, greatest stuff ever. He's just the human landscape versus the natural landscape. I mean, Werner Herzog could just film like water flowing down a river, and it would be for an hour and a half, and it would be a good movie, I think, with some Popova music involved. Yeah,
I definitely need to get more into his stuff.
Just throwing those out there, top of my head.
Very cool. What's a director that kind of took you a few movies to come around on?
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Okay.
Really didn't like that guy. But There Will Be Blood changed my mind.
Okay.
That movie was incredible. And I've rewatched some of his older stuff.
So was it like Boogie Nights that wasn't vibing?
Boogie Nights really turned me off.
Okay.
I thought that Magnolia was a cool concept when Robert Altman did it in Shortcuts.
Uh-huh.
And I thought it was really over the top and intense in Magnolia.
Oh, yeah.
Punch Drunk Love, though, that's a good one. I've rediscovered that one later on after those. But, yeah, so I'd say used to not like PTA. Mm-hmm. Now,
what do you like between The Master and There Will Be Blood? Do you prefer one or the other?
The Master's incredible, too. There Will Be Blood is a phenomenal movie. I love that movie. But The Master's really good, too. Yeah.
And watching There Will Be Blood again, I just see how much more cerebral The Master was compared. But there's a lot of similar elements, especially whenever he gets to the coast with his brother or whatever. There's a lot of the similar cinematography you see there in There Will Be Blood compared to what we come up in The Master.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What's something that instantly gets you invested in a film, whether it be the themes, an actor, director, the aesthetic?
Like a film I'm going in blind? What initially would hook me? I mean, I guess, you see the credits first, and if there's something really interesting about the titles or the credits,
like any specific genres or anything, that's all like, oh, that's what this is. Okay, now I'm hook, line, sinker. Mm-hmm. Like psychological thrillers, I think, are one that really helped me go down the rabbit hole.
If it's a submarine movie, I'm in. Or that would definitely hook me.
Okay.
Yeah, certain weird character actors. Brad Dourif. He's always small parts generally, but just in some really cool movies. Okay. Somehow certain people end up in the good movies, David Bowie. If David Bowie's in the movie, I'm going to like it.
Nicely said. What's a movie that it's good to watch, just dumb fun. Just, you need, kind of in a bad mood, just need to unwind and watch something.
True Stories. David Byrne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talking Heads, right?
Yes. Well, yeah. Written and directed and starred in by David Byrne. It is just the goofiest, most fun movie I can imagine. Yeah, okay. That'll cheer me up. No problem. No trouble there. Yeah.
Cool. Went a little artsy with that. I like it.
Yeah. Marshmallow.
And okay. So the opposite.
It's very quotable too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on the opposite of the one we had before, any movie pet peeves? What's stuff about a movie that's gonna start to turn you off?
If the sound is not doesn't fit with it.
Okay.
That was my one complaint about the new Ninja Turtle movie, is it felt like the music did not fit most of the scenes.
Okay.
So
the needle drops just say,
yeah, okay. That kind of pulls me out of it, I think. So some of the technical stuff, obviously any continuity errors or editing problems, like sloppy editing, that's kind of the problem I have with most like Hitchcock movies or any kind of movie that's maybe from the 60s or prior, They just feel like they're not edited as tight.
Huh. Okay, cool.
So the kind of technical things definitely pull me out of it.
Okay.
Assuming it's otherwise a good movie,
What's your favorite back pocket movie to recommend to an average Joe? Not necessarily somebody that dives into Delicatessen with you.
Yeah, like a movie to kind of get them in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
like for instance, like I was thinking, like I don't really want to go around telling everybody my favorite movie's Clockwork Orange, but I can probably get away with like Fiddler on the Roof. So
that's a different, that's a.
Or
that's
like
a
you could say
there.
like the Breakfast Club or Back to the Future. I mean those are great movies. I mean,
Yeah.
it definitely doesn't make you a unique personality to say that, but at least you can like seem like you're on the same planet at
I
first.
kind of want people to know how weird I am the first time they meet me, though. So I got to go with Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, man.
There you go.
Yeah. A lot of Terry Gilliam movies are kind of approachable, mainstream, but they really, really pull you in.
Nice.
Yeah.
A favorite Japanese film?
I got to go with Throne of Blood. I mean, anything Kurosawa did was great, but just that like layer of Macbeth, then plus like the arrow scene at the end is just amazing. It's like, how did they do that without killing Toshiro Mifune? I don't understand.
What's your favorite like real subtle, low key, soft spoken kind of movie?
Well,
like an Ozu kind of feel.
Koyaanisqatsi doesn't get much more soft spoken than that. I mean, there's no words in it.
Interesting interpretation. I think I told you before, like halfway through that movie, whenever it starts going faster and faster and faster,
Mm-hmm.
it was actually making me feel nauseous. It was a very interesting experience. So,
yeah, it is definitely a different vibe
Cool.
between the first half and the second half. Yeah, but most movies, they got to take you somewhere.
yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
journey. But yeah, that movie though could also be considered like a litmus test or something. Like, I'll throw that out if people actually watch it and they come back and they're like, you know what, I watched it.
And to your credit, they're not beating you over the head with the meaning. You're supposed to kind of grasp from the visuals what you will. So you're spot on.
There you go.
Cool. All right. Do you recall the first movie that you saw in the theater?
I know this 100%.
Nice.
I somehow I remember seeing Return of the Jedi in the movie theater. I would have been 3.5 years old, I think.
Okay.
But I remember seeing that. I remember the theater. It affected me profoundly, and I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. At least the episode 4, 5, and 6 there.
Nice. Any Best Picture movies that you would say really affected you?
My best picture movie, huh?
Yeah, essentially.
Taxi Driver. Did it win?
It won the Palme d'Or.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, not that one then.
Yeah, it wasn't until Departed where Scorsese got his
Yeah.
due.
Oh, that's right. That was the first big Academy that he
Raging
got.
Bull probably should have been on there.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I like Scorsese, but not the mob movies so much. But yeah, very technical director. Best picture movie that I absolutely love. Kind of drawing a blank on the best pictures. You got a list?
Amadeus, I'm actually doing.
Oh, that one's amazing. Yeah, definitely. That or Babel. I think I like that one a lot too.
That was a nominee. That was from.
Oh, it didn't win.
Who directed that? The same guy as.
Inarritu.
Yeah,
Birdman. Did it win?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Birdman.
Birdman. That's dope.
Okay.
Yeah, Birdman's a good movie.
Cool. Okay. Go to movie theater snack.
Nothing.
Oh.
But if I have to pick something, or if it's free, popcorn with snow caps in it.
Okay.
But generally, I don't eat or drink in a movie. I don't know. I don't want to get up and pee or whatever. So.
Good. Yeah. Well said.
And I don't like spending $15. So oddly enough, my first job was in a concession stand at a movie theater.
Okay.
So, it barely paid anything, $5 an hour, I think. You could look up minimum wage and figure out how old I am from that. So most days for lunch, I would just eat popcorn. So like for years after that, because it was free, for us concession stand guys, for years after that, I couldn't touch popcorn.
Sure.
And I know, how the whole thing worked, at least in the 90s. And usually movie theater concession stands are kind of gross to me, kind of off-putting. So
Gotcha. That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I tell you, they sold Monsters at the theater when I went to go see Barbie movie. So sipping on a little energy drink throughout.
Oh my!
Is definitely enjoy it. And movie theater popcorn, and obviously you end up eating too much of it. It's all greasy and stuff. But
well, yeah, the bigger bags, the deal. You got to go big. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, do not ever do the butter though. I don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, that stuff is pretty gross.
All right, a movie that really creeped you out. We were talking about the Sentinel earlier.
Yeah, it's like my favorite horror movie, but I will absolutely never watch Naked Lunch again.
Oh, that creeped you out?
Cronenberg, man, that got under my skin, literally. The bugs talking and the fucking creature with the tentacles or the fingers and stuff. Oh, man, no way. Never again.
Yeah, that was...
Naked Lunch. I like Cronenberg a lot, but we'll never watch that movie again.
Okay. Like it. Mm-hmm. All right, so we might have gotten to this already. The movie that turned you into a cinephile. Was it Fight Club?
I mean,
I think that was mine, actually.
Yeah. I mean, for real, though, Delicatessen was the first, weird art movie I ever saw. So, I mean, in the 90s, I was real into, Oliver Stone and stuff. I saw a lot of those, I don't know,
Natural
90s movies. Yeah. But as far as, a really artistic, movie... I'd say definitely maybe Delicatessen. Maybe Jean-Pierre Jeunet started me on that path,
It's neat how you say that. That was your first exposure to this kind of level of style. I remember when I went to college, I met this random guy and he's like, all right, you need to watch these 3 movies. He gave me Clerks, he gave me Royal Tenenbaums, and he gave me Snatch.
Man, yeah.
And I was like, he blew me away with style because those are probably 3 of the most style-filled movies, and I love all 3 of those to this day.
Yeah. I like Clerks. I don't know. Kevin Smith.
Hit or miss, yeah.
Yeah, love-hate with that guy.
He can be a little juvenile at times.
Yeah, exactly.
What's an acclaimed film you still don't really get the appeal of?
Anything Tarantino.
Oh.
Pulp Fiction was a pretty good effort, but anything else by that guy, though, just big turnoff.
Have you watched it all, or
what? Yeah, most of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious if you keep dabbling, if you didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, the Kill Bill stuff, and I get it. He's paying homage to a style or whatever, but I don't know.
Did Bastards didn't work for you either?
No.
Okay. Vision is history. Last great movie you saw?
First time seeing, or I watched Das Boot this morning, and that's one of my favorites. But
okay.
The last great movie I saw. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Barbie, I guess. No, not quite. It was a good effort, but.
All right, last one. Your bucket list movie theater experience. So, I'm not sure if you're aware of fancy theaters. I'm not really, but I guess you could pick a city or in a particular.
The theater itself.
The theater and the movie, just be.
So I'm going to answer this in 2 parts.
Okay.
So when I was working at the cinemas, would have been 96, 97. So that's when they re-released the Star Wars original trilogy. Okay. My mother actually wrote a note, let me stay home from school so that I could go to the movie theater at 9 o'clock on a Thursday and watch the test screening of A New Hope on the big screen, which would have been the first time I saw it on a big screen.
Okay.
And, just that whole experience of, getting to stay home from school to go, do the biggest nerdy thing I could, That was really cool. It was in the Showcase Cinemas in Louisville, which is torn down, and it's a Costco parking lot now.
Oh, no.
But, and it was their biggest theater, 1,000 seats or whatever. Grand movie theater. It wasn't incredibly special, but anyway, also in Louisville, Kentucky, which is where I grew up, the Palace Theater was an old movie theater, also a concert venue and stuff. And the only movie I got to see there that I really liked, I guess, or whatever, a big experience, was seeing Gone with the Wind there. So this is a big theater from the 30s or 40s, so it probably showed their new. And just to go see that, I don't love the movie, but still, just that experience was really cool.
Okay. One that you dream of having?
What?
A bucket list movie theater experience? I think those are ones you've actually had, right?
Yeah. Those happened to me.
So one that you wish you could have?
That I could have been there for? To see Rocky Horror, back in the day or something.
Okay.
The first time around when people were acting it out. I've been several times in the 90s again, or, and stuff. But that would have been really cool. Or even just the Star Wars the first time around. I was there in 83, but I don't really remember it other than a few, cool clips.
All right. Well, let's get into our feature, Delicatessen.
Yep. Delicatessen.
It came to your mind. I was like, oh, I've been wanting to see that, and we're diving into it. From 1991, it's a post-apocalyptic surrealist black comedy about the landlord of an apartment building who occasionally prepares a delicacy for his odd tenants. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you are much more well-versed in the film than I, so yeah, you want to describe maybe what it's about and some stuff you like about it, and I'll sprinkle in my commentary as we go.
So yeah, it's sort of set in a parallel timeline. It seems 1950s, early 60s perhaps, as far as the technology and what's on screen. Hairstyles, clothing styles, definitely of the 50s. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, nuclear holocaust, late 50s, early Cold War, resulting in a destruction of agriculture, and the people are starving. We only really see one apartment building that's not in a city.
And it's almost like a warehouse kind of looking thing.
Yeah, and half of it's blown away, and the
which totally contrasts the fact that it has this nice delicatessen like entranceway. Or
yeah, I know, like that would presumably serve like customers or whatever. But all the customers we see are tenants of the building, and they are obviously starving, are hungry, and then.
So in the introduction, it's basically this drawn out like. Just kind of visual sequence where we're introduced to the butcher. He's sharpening his knife, obviously very threatening, and even like the how do you describe the aesthetic? I mean, it's very like sepia, muddled colors throughout.
Oh yeah, very monotone in the beginning and very greasy.
Yeah.
Everything's got a coat of dust and grease, and it's very gross. Yeah,
very drippy, and because water is a big thing later on, and even that knife is like so super shiny compared to this room.
Oh, the mirror on his cleaver, is very visually striking. Many scenes.
And then, so we're introduced to this guy, and he wants to get himself out of there. So he disguises himself as trash, right?
Yeah, and then sneaks down the stairs in his trash costume and climbs into a trash can.
And we keep getting these images of his eyes real close up, and the biggest eyes you've ever seen as they're going back and forth, because he wants to get out of there because he knows what's going to happen. And
it's a terrifying scene. Yeah, it's really a horror movie.
And he's listening through him to him through the pipes, and right when he thinks he's out of there, the butcher chops him up, and so now we need a new
cleaver to the face. Yeah,
we need a new.
Well, we got the title sequence, which is incredible. Right.
So, and what the thing that stood out to me here was a lot of times in animated movies we see these cool sequences where it's like, or even like Spider-Man or something, like we have CGI where it's like, and you see the webs and stuff. But this is all done like we're seeing like dusty like shelves and stairs, and we're just going all through them. We're getting the titles, but it's all like seems practical and very, very hands-on. This whole, it's like a whole playhouse of a bottle movie kind of.
Yeah, a lot of broken parts and things. Did you notice that the director of photography is printed on a camera? Like an old SLR camera. And then the music dusty, guy was on a record label that was broken.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so funny to watch these French movies, and you have the typical, French music.
Yeah, upbeat accordions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So atmospheric. I mean, every time we see the outside of it, it's all like foggy, like it's in a war movie. But then, like towards the end, the climax, we get like these like thunder flashes. Like it's like all of a sudden we're in like Dr. Frankenstein's like laboratory or something already.
Yeah. You get this nuclear winter feel for most of the movie, where it's really dark and bombed out and smoky. Yeah, and nothing works. He's got to push the car up the hill to get there.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Because this is the new maintenance guy.
Yeah.
And he owes the cab driver money, right? And so
he
pays him with his shoes.
He has to pay the cab driver, even though the cab is broke down and he has to push it. to get there. Yeah.
Let me go back and watch that part of it. I can't wait to see all the little nuances of this once I go back through it. And you hadn't seen it in 10 years, but it seemed like it was coming back to you like you watched it yesterday.
I probably watched it 10 or 20 times back in the years ago.
The sink gag where he turns it on one side and it sprays on the other side.
Yeah.
Upstate. Go ahead.
The faulty water system features a lot in the plot too, as far as
it does. Convoluted neighbor drama. So, I think trying to get my arms around this thing, it was just like stuff little quirky things constantly happening as we're exploring this whole thing. I guess the main plot line is this guy works there and, he's going to avoid trying to get, chopped up by the butcher. And he becomes attracted to his daughter or so forth. But yeah, essentially just his quirky nature in this very hostile environment, I think, is the theme we're kind of going for. And there's a lot of fun to be had with it. So some of the convoluted neighbor drama that stands out to you. Tell me about the comb-over guy.
So yeah, the comb-over guy, who's the actor's name is just Rufus. I don't know his character name or whatever, but his brother, I believe, or roommate, their job is to create these somehow mechanical noise-making devices that make a cow moo sound. And it's like a 5-minute scene in the movie.
Yeah, and it's like what you would go to like Cracker Barrel or something. Yeah. You pick up a little box and it goes...
Yeah, or they put it inside of a stuffed animal and you tilt it from side to side or something, but it's got a label on it. So obviously these guys are making these to sell somewhere, but who would want that in the post-apocalyptic 1960s future?
And they're even tuning them.
Yeah, tuning them. They got their rejects, So yeah, we really get to know these guys pretty well. And then, you got the Rufus's side love interest is a married woman who is being tormented by psychosis of wanting to kill herself to hilarious results. I mean, I said this movie could never be made now because of the hilarity of the suicide and then all the smoking involved. But yeah, so Rufus is trying to woo this woman who's trying to kill herself because her husband is a very style-conscious person. He's immaculately dressed in the post-apocalyptic future.
Let me throw this point out there before I forget it. It's almost like, I think one of the most important scenes of the movie is this, like, so the butcher's like giving his old lady the business on their bed. The springs are squeaking. There's this lady who has a thing for the butcher, and she's beating the crap out of this rug.
Yep.
The guy that they hire to...
Louison is
he's painting the ceiling
with his suspenders and some weird and
it's like the humping of the butcher is like the rhythm of everyone's life.
And the whole building.
This whole microcosm. So it's fun to see all that come together. And he's running the roost. But things are getting a little strange. All right, who else do we want to talk about?
The kids.
Yep.
Are in a lot of scenes as just being like instruments of pure chaos.
And they elicit because the guy who's doing the maintenance, he's a former clown who worked with a monkey, and God, him and his clown makeup is like so disturbing looking.
Oh, I know.
Ugh. Yeah. But he incites whimsy through like his performance with bubbles, and he captures smoke in a bubble because the kids are smoking on the stairs, being kids misbehaving in the 50s.
Yeah, French kids smoking. Yeah, and smoking's a big thing, at least for the French, I think.
Yeah.
I think from movies anyway. Even a good scene of the butcher smoking on the porch, very dramatic. After the lovemaking, I believe. Yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
Another great scene is the maintenance guy goes to the actual squeaky bed, and him and the butcher's old lady are bouncing, just very playfully to find where the squeak is, and then I think later on is whenever they're together in the room, and he's doing the 3-leg thing, which is totally
the Hawaiian
random
music that's random but pretty common from the 50s too. that obsession with Hawaiian culture. You haven't even mentioned the Frogman yet, who raises his own snails and eats them somehow
huge pile of snail shells
in a second-story room that has 6 inches of water on the floor of it. It doesn't make any sense. And this guy, how does he factor into it at all? Because he doesn't seem to eat the meat that's generated by the butcher. He's eating the snails that he harvests. Very French.
The meet cute. So we meet upstairs is the butcher's daughter. She's a nice young lady, bright green, like
you refer to her as Christina Ricci, French Christina Ricci.
A little bit in the face,
yeah, definitely.
That faded pretty quickly, but
no, you're right. The eyes,
but she's very embarrassed of that she wears glasses, and so she invites the guy up, and she rehearses doing having tea with him and pouring it without her glasses on. Surely he doesn't care if she wears glasses or not. Yeah. But it's hilarious to go into her room. She has the most. It's a pink room, so it's all of a sudden it's a contrast. He brings her dead flowers. She has a dead plant in the corner or whatever. It's just so many little bizarre elements all piled on top of each other. Just gives you this strange charm of this the whimsy of a clown in a butcher shop. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, in a falling down building on the edge of civilization.
Tell me about what they use for money and the Robert De Niro's floating around.
Yeah, so there's this whole other subplot.
And I'm so glad you told me that Terry Gilliam was associated with this.
Yeah, I know. It really feels that way. Maybe an homage to Brazil or whatever. But so the money that's exchanged hands for all services, for the meat that people are buying, and the butcher pays the mailman off in bags of grain, corn or lentils are specifically mentioned. But you never see anybody eating them. You never see anybody eat anything in the movie, really. But it would be odd that I guess there's scarcity for all food. They say the plants aren't going to grow back or whatever.
Which hints to your theory of that being a nuclear apocalypse.
Yeah, perhaps. They're hoarding this wealth in the form of grain that they don't ever eat. And then you got this whole, in the third act, or maybe halfway through the second, we become aware that's hinted at earlier in the story of this subversive, literally underground revolutionary guys that are called the troglodytes.
Dressed all in
rubber.
Yeah, rubber.
Yeah, rubber gloves.
Yeah, they're red gloves.
Yeah, they all have headlamps on because they live in the sewers. And Julie Clepet goes in search of these guys to help her.
It's hilarious how they're always popping up through the floor somewhere.
or through the vents. There's always ample furnace vents that people climb through in these movies. But they live underground. They hoard grains. They don't eat meat, so you presume that they eat the corn and the lentils and stuff. And they come up and try to save the day, but they're not really good at it.
Yeah, they just kind of poke around in the way.
Yeah,
and then they take the wrong person out of there.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite shots I noted to you was whenever they're wandering around in the sewers, and we get these Dutch angles or all kinds of really cool angles of the sewers. It's lit up real neat.
Yeah, really interesting lighting down there for the sewers.
It's so weird because the shots outside, with the motorcycle and stuff, reminded me of Stalker and stuff. And then it's just interesting combination of really weak shots, but they have charm and it's contrasted by bright stuff. Beautiful French sewers too. They have very romantic sewers there. And then towards the end, okay, so the climax, so the guy's performance is coming on TV, and the butcher's jealous about this, so he's going to shake the antenna and mess up the signal. And so he goes and checks on that, and this whole scuffle up there goes on. Worst fight scenes I've ever seen. This movie's lacking a good fight choreographer. And there was some digression. I think the digression was that we go down to the sewer for the while in the middle of this whole Well, yeah, that's when the woman's kidnapped. Is during all that scuffle.
because she goes looking for Louison and then is kidnapped in his stead. Or rescued, I guess. So they fight on the roof, and
then they go after him, and then they're beating on that door for God knows how long.
The butcher falls off the roof, and his foot's entangled in some kind of wire or something, so he's hanging upside down, so you get he sees the troglodytes kidnap his girlfriend upside down, that whole scene. And then, somehow Louison and his girlfriend, Julie, escape into her apartment, perhaps, and barricade the door, and then they go into the bathroom and flood it with
like Shape of Water style, all the way up to the top, and they even make out or whatever, floating in in this room of water. So eat your heart out, Guillermo del Toro.
And then just the amazing effect of the water pouring out of the door, that's easily opened with a twist of the doorknob, and then they all flood down.
Yeah, so then you get this whole dusty house that just totally flooded and disgusting even more.
Cleansed, perhaps.
The
bathroom is cleansed the whole house, and then that ends up resulting in the villains getting defeated.
Washed away.
Well, we haven't mentioned the Australian yet. The boomerang knife. That's used a few times earlier in the movie.
I guess that comes to a head. In the end,
is found and wielded by the butcher. And is his ultimate downfall.
He's undone by the guy's knife.
Hoist by his own petard.
Oh, the scene where she walks in and the guy has the cleaver prop on his head because he's practicing a trick.
He's got the setup to look like he's been butchered. It's real funny. Got to read the room, clown.
And then the end there where he's our hero's like hanging on a toilet as the butcher is like walking around pacing with this knife in his head, dying the slowest possible death.
Yeah, and then you got the troglodytes actually trying to haul them out the roof somehow. So they showed up a little too late. Anyway. Then what do we wrap up with? A clear blue sky on the roof. And then, again, the cello and musical saw duet.
As things it's becoming a bright day.
Everything is okay, at least for our clown, his girlfriend, and then the two chaos children.
What'd you make of the larger lady and her obsession with the butcher? She seemed like a closet, like, hey, I kind of want him.
Totally. And her husband, the bike tire inflator and the condom patcher. Very thrifty guy there.
I guess so. The condom patcher. All right.
The grandma killer. He offered her up.
So he owes the butcher money.
Yeah, they all do.
And so he offers up his mother-in-law as payment and tricks her into going downstairs by kicking the yarn. The ongoing gag of these trap stairs.
The trick stairs, the everything falling down the stairs.
Oh, I don't need your help going up the stairs. And then he falls right back down moments later. Oh, that was good. Any final favorite memory thoughts of it before we go into our wrap it up?
No, I think we got it all there. We kind of spoiled everything. Spoiler warning, a little late, but it's okay.
Oh, geez, how would I rate this movie? So normally I do the letterbox system. 5. I would put this at about a 4.5. I really enjoyed the visual style of it. It kept me guessing with what's happening. I want to know more, and then it's crafted in a way to where it is very obvious what's going on whenever you're looking beyond that surface. So and
the subtitles, it's a little hard to keep track of the subtleties of the plot.
Right. I think not being able to track it fully like the first time might lower my rating a little bit, but I could definitely see it going up to a 5 just with how immaculate the set design is, how it's this really cute metaphor for the sweetness at the center, or in the center of vileness, disaster, what have you.
Yeah, because you have the themes of forgiveness and finding love in the ugly, gritty, greasy world. Yeah, yeah, I definitely give it a 5. A 5 T-bone rating. Five big steaks.
Cool. All right, thanks so much for joining me, Chad. Are you on any social networks that people could reach out to you on, or no? He's gonna remain anonymous. I can respect that.
Yeah.
All right, please follow the Average Joe's Movie Clubcast on YouTube, and I'm Justin Peterson on Letterboxd. Hope everyone has a great day and keep watching great movies.